Chapter 33. This is the last chapter. Even in midair, Jonah had no idea what he was intended to do to Gary. Arm wrestling him for the elucidator or the taser was out of the question. Punching him would be as useless as punching a brick wall. So Jonah decided to take a page out of Catherine's book. With one hand, he grabbed for Gary's hair. With the other, he poked his fingers into Gary's eyes. "Ow!" Gary screamed. Reflexively, he lifted his hands toward his face. The taser clattered toward the ground. Gary trapped it again with one foot. Jonah let go of Gary's hair and grabbed the elucidator just as Gary was shoving him away, flinging him toward the stone wall. Jonah slammed against the wall hard. He thought he could feel every bone in his spine hitting rock, one bone after the other. So it took him a few moments to realize the elucidator was in his hand. "Ha!" Jonah shouted at Gary. Gary only smiled. "It doesn't matter, kid," he said. "It's already programmed. That's one of the newer models. You don't even have to point it. We just do that out of habit." Jonah looked down at the screen of the elucidator, which seemed to be engaged in some kind of countdown. 10, 9, 8. As the 7 blinked on the screen, Jonah threw the elucidator as hard as he could toward the far corner of the cave. "JB," he screamed, "make it stop!" Jonah could see JB catching the elucidator, hitting buttons. Somehow, Jonah managed to get up to rush across the cave toward JB. Other kids had the same idea, flocking together toward JB. Jonah started to trip over something. The taser. Wait a minute. Where had Gary gone? "Goodbye, friends," JB said softly. "I hope you enjoyed time prison." And then Mr. Hodge vanished too, right in the middle of the room. Stunned, Jonah leaned over and scooped up the taser. He kept running toward JB. "Is it safe now?" Jonah asked. "Did you stop the countdown?" JB still had his head bent over the elucidator. He was still punching buttons. Jonah crowded close with Chip and Catherine, and Alex pressed in tightly beside him. JB raised his head. "I'm truly sorry," he said. "This is what I have to do." And he pointed the elucidator at Alex, and Alex disappeared. Then he turned the elucidator toward Chip. "No!" Chip screamed. Catherine clutched Chip's right arm and joined her screams to his. Jonah still had the taser in his right hand, but there wasn't time to use that. He looped his right elbow into Chip's arm, hoping to hold him in place. With his left hand, Jonah made a swipe for the elucidator. The cave was already melting away. "No!" Jonah wasn't even sure who was screaming. Catherine, Chip, himself, the elucidator. "Hold on!" The elucidator? He could feel it in his left hand. He was clutching it as tightly as he was clutching the taser, as tightly as he had his arm wrapped around Chip's. But he couldn't see anything because he had his eyes squeezed shut. He dared to open one eye just a crack, and he and Chip and Catherine seemed to be tumbling through the outer nothingness, but tumbling toward a vague hint of light far off in the distance. "No!" This time he was sure the wail was coming from the elucidator, speaking in JB's voice. "Jonah, there's been a mistake." JB's voice came out loud and clear and anxious straight from the elucidator. "You and Catherine have no business going into the 50th century with Chip and Alex. You're not allowed. You could cause even more damage, and you can't take the elucidator or the taser there. You should have thought of that before you zapped Chip," Jonah said, and he was amazed that he could still sound so defiant out here in the middle of nothingness. "You should have known that we'd stick together." There was a silence, as if JB was trying to accept that. Maybe he hadn't known they would stick together. "Look, I'll tell you what to do so you and Catherine can come back," JB said, his voice strained. "No," Jonah said stubbornly. "Tell us what to do so we can all come back, even Alex." Chip looked over at Jonah, gratitude gleaming in his eyes. "Jonah," JB protested, "you don't know what you're talking about. Certain things have been set in motion. Chip and Alex have to go to the 50th century. "Then Catherine and I are going too," Jonah said. He didn't know how it was possible, but he could feel time flowing past him, scrolling backward. He felt like he had only a few more seconds left to convince JB. What if we could fix the 50th century, make everything right again? Then couldn't Alex and Chip come back to the 21st century with us? Silence. Jonah had nervous tremors in his stomach. The hand holding the elucidator was shaking. He wasn't even sure what he was asking for, but he couldn't stop now. "You have to let us try," Jonah argued. "Let us try to save Alex and Chip and time, or else." He had to come up with a good threat. Or else what? Oh, or else we'll do our best to mess up time even worse than Hodge and Gary did. The silence from the hallucinator continued. Jonah worried that they'd floated out of range or that the battery had stopped working just like a defective cell phone. Then JB's voice came through again, faint but distinct. "All right," he said wearily. "I'll let you try." The lights on the horizon were getting brighter. Jonah knew nothing about the 50th century. He truly didn't know what he'd just bargained for. "Wow," Chip said. "When you make a promise, you really keep it." "Promise?" Jonah wondered. "What promise?" Then he remembered what he'd told Chip right after Chip found out that he was adopted. "I swear I'll do everything I can to help you." It seemed like he'd said that hundreds of years ago, hundreds of lifetimes ago. No, hundreds of years and lifetimes ahead. Jonah's stomach gurgled. He could tell he was out of the non-time limbo because he was hungry again, starving in fact. "Do you think they have good turkey legs in the 50th? No, it's the 15th. Sorry, I keep saying 50th. 15th century. Wow, so they're going back. There was no time for Chip and Catherine to answer him, or even to make fun of his question. The lights were getting brighter and brighter, rushing at them faster and faster and faster. They landed. "Welcome to the 15th century, JB said grimly through the hallucinator. "Good luck." Ah, that's the end. So now they're in the 15th century. They're to help Chip. And I guess that's where book 2 comes in. So that's all of it. So you have to read like the next book to see what happens. Can't remember what it's called. We'll have to look and see tomorrow. All right. That was good. Well, that's 9 points. Take your test, and I hope you make your AR goal. See you later.